Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful way of looking at, and more importantly, surviving a deeply damaging maternal relationship. This is all based on the work of Christine Lawson.
You know, just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, who found out she had a power she never knew about, Christine Lawson's whole idea is that the key to getting out of a toxic maternal dynamic, well, it lies in a power you might not even realize you have.
So, to get started, we really have to understand the main figure in all of this, what Lawson calls the witch mother archetype.
Now, it is so important to get this straight. We are not talking about fairy tales here. This isn't about actual wickedness. It's a psychological framework to understand a mother whose own issues lead her to project her self-hatred onto her child, causing some really profound developmental trauma.
For any child growing up in a dynamic like this, the world doesn't really feel like a home. It's more like an emotional battlefield, a constant, relentless state of siege.
According to Lawson, this kind of environment is basically designed to just systematically crush a child's spirit. You know, any little spark of who they are, any sense of dignity or pushback is seen as a threat, and it gets snuffed out. What happens is the child is basically forced to carry all of the mother's feelings of worthlessness that she can't face in herself. And this means the child ends up feeling numb, useless, and just despised because they've taken on this hatred that was never ever theirs to begin with.
This leads to this deep, profound disconnection from your own body, from your own feelings. It's a survival mechanism, for sure. But it's one that just slowly chips away at a person's sense of self and their very right to even be here.
And that is the million-dollar question, right? If this is the world you've always known, how do you possibly escape without getting consumed by the very thing you're trying to run from? Well, the answer is in the path to survival.
The big turning point, according to Lawson, requires a huge shift in your strategy. It's not about fighting fire with fire. Not at all.
Okay, so this is absolutely crucial. Attacking the witch directly is a trap. It just provokes her, it proves her worldview right, and it invites her to hit back even harder. The goal isn't to defeat her. The goal is to make her power over you totally and completely ineffective. And this is such a perfect way to think about it. Dorothy didn't need some big weapon to destroy the witch, right? The power was in her ruby slippers the whole time. She just had to learn how to use them. The power to leave. The power to just disengage. That's your power.
So how do you actually do this in the real world? Lawson lays out a really clear three-step strategy for disarming the witch and finally taking your own life back. Think of these 3 steps as your roadmap. They're all about creating safety for yourself, building boundaries that are absolutely non-negotiable, and teaching other people how you're going to be treated from now on. Creating distance is so much more than just physically moving away. It's about building up your inner world, affirming your own values. It's about creating actual physical safety. And maybe most importantly, it's about emotional separation. You stop serving up your inner thoughts and feelings to someone who's just going to use them against you. Now, what I find so interesting about this slide is just how clear and actionable zero tolerance is. This isn't a debate, it's not a discussion, it's a plan. The second the witch shows up, whether it's through guilt or that tone of voice or a demand, the interaction is just over. You hang up the phone, you walk away. Your safety is not up for negotiation. And this is where the lesson really sticks. You don't warn, you don't threaten, you don't try to explain yourself. When a boundary gets crossed, you just act. The consequence is you leaving. And this isn't about punishment, it's about you protecting yourself and teaching others, through your actions, what your limits are.
So, once you have these tools in place to create some safety on the outside, the final, and honestly the most important part of the journey begins. And that part is all internal.
According to Lawson, this is the final battle, because holding on to hatred for your mother, no matter how much you feel it's justified, keeps you chained to her. It kind of means her worldview has won. To really be free, you have to defeat the self-hatred that she planted inside of you.
This incredibly powerful quote, it comes from the journal of a woman who was in a concentration camp. It just highlights this profound truth that trying to fight hatred with more hatred is a self-destructive act. It means the person who hurt you has succeeded in remaking you in their own image. So, how do you heal? Lawson is really clear about this. It's not something you can just do by yourself in a vacuum. A safe, loving relationship, whether it's with a partner, a therapist, a really good friend, that is what gives you the safety and the freedom you need to finally rebuild your self-esteem and believe that you are, in fact, good.
And that leaves us with this one final, really powerful thought. Surviving all of this isn't about waiting for someone to come rescue you or for the witch to suddenly change. It's about that profound and maybe a little terrifying realization that you have always had the power to click your heels, turn around, and walk away into your own life.